Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day. This is going to be another weekend edition or another special weekend video where I take a break from the news a tiny bit and I talk about discussions that are happening in the cryptocurrency world, where I'd like to discuss things with you guys and see exactly how you feel on the topic. This video is going to be about pretty much if Litecoin is undervalued and why it may be this way. So I actually found an article from 2013, which I think was very interesting. I'm not going to read through it, but pretty much the article talks about even back then, 5 years ago from now, the discussion was going, is Litecoin the silver to Bitcoin's gold? Even at this point, we knew that Bitcoin was the head honcho. There weren't a lot of coins around for those who have not been in the cryptocurrency space for that long. Years and years, it was just Bitcoin, and then it was Litecoin, and then we had a couple of other coins. I think we had Peercoin, Vertcoin, Global Coin, World Coin, Green Coin, what have you. So there was a lot of discussion because Litecoin was the most similar to Bitcoin in a lot of ways. Before I actually got into cryptocurrencies, or before cryptocurrencies became a major part of my life, I was actually very much into gold and silver. I wasn't hoarding it or anything like that. But I thought it was kind of cool. There was a lot of talk about investing in gold and silver and how the price was manipulated and how the price would eventually go up. These were the good old days. Now that I think about it, it's actually kind of funny. One of the major discussions that went on, I used to watch CNBC all the time. I used to watch discussions about the gold and silver prices. And it was constantly, why was the price of gold so much higher than the price of silver? This is actually a live price, if you will, with the price of silver being $16.53 and the price of gold being $1,300. The idea goes that there is far less gold in the world than there is silver. That's left up to discussion. A lot of people think that there is not an equal amount, but that silver is actually a lot rarer than gold is, and this will bring us into the discussion of the cryptocurrencies as we move forward. So in the same exact price range, this is $16 and this is $1,300. When you look at the prices of Bitcoin, which is currently number 1, and Litecoin, which is currently number 6, the price of one Litecoin is $121 to Bitcoin $7,543, even at their max, if I'm not mistaken. I believe the price of one Litecoin was $290, if not scratching the surface of $300, while Bitcoin was still $20,000. So let a lot of people, a lot of discussions, because a lot of people feel in their hearts, and I kind of feel the exact same way because of what it is, but I'll go into that later on in the video as well, that Litecoin should, in theory, be around 1/4 the price of one Bitcoin because of their history together. So it has the dates, the launch date of Bitcoin originally was January 3rd, 2009. Don't you wish that we were all around back then and we knew exactly what a Bitcoin was? Litecoin came out 2 years later. The max amount of coins for Bitcoin will be 21 million, while Litecoin will be 84 million. That means there is 4 times as many. The average block time for Bitcoin roughly is around 10 minutes. The average block time for Litecoin is 2.5 minutes, meaning that Litecoin is in theory 4 times quicker than its older brother, which is why a lot of people think that the prices should kind of reflect each other a bit more, and that Bitcoin shouldn't possibly be, or rather Litecoin, I'll rephrase that completely, that Litecoin should be worth a lot more compared to the other altcoins, which is an entirely different discussion in itself as to why people think it should be higher than even EOS or even Ethereum. Definitely not going to get into that in this video. Part of the reason why I believe so many of these websites are pop-ups now. Part of the reason why I believe why the separation of price happened somewhere along the way, because the price difference wasn't always as dramatic. There was a point where I believe Bitcoin was around $200 or so, maybe $180, and Litecoin was, floating around 4, 5, 6, 7. So it wasn't as incredibly dramatic as we see now in the price difference. What I think started the catalyst for all of this is around the end of 2016, early 2017, we had rumblings of how Bitcoin was going to be this major asset class in itself, not even the entire crypto market. Everything was focusing around Bitcoin because there wasn't a lot of attention around Ethereum yet. There wasn't a lot at all around Ripple. And there was barely a hint, little dash around Litecoin and what it could do and what it meant. Around 2017, we had these discussions, and I said to a lot of people, I thought this would bring about a great change, not only for the cryptocurrency market, but for what Bitcoin will be in the future. Because Bitcoin, at its core, the reason for Bitcoin's development was that it would be this thing that stayed away from banks, it stayed away from financial institutions. It would be a way for us to get away from these things and deal with money ourselves. But where banks and corporations see money, this is where they will kind of flow to. And this is why we have a number of, especially people in the US right now, who are trying to launch Bitcoin ETFs. We have Bitcoin mutual funds. We have Bitcoin hedge funds. We have Bitcoin derivatives. We have Bitcoin futures markets. And when you have all of this attention focused around one coin in particular, it creates a gigantic rift between everything around it. This is part of the reason why I still believe why Bitcoin has the price that it does. Speed aside, we know that Bitcoin is not the fastest coin in the market by any means, especially with the other coins that we have that are out there now. But it has the name. Regardless of any conversations that we may have had in the past of how quick it is, scalability or anything else like that, when you start having these things attached to your name, people are going to make sure that you survive. And this is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest reasons why we are currently seeing exactly what's happening with the price of Litecoin in general. If we had these same conversations, or if we had any hedge funds, mutual funds, or even people were trying to launch ETFs in the name of Litecoin, I think the price would be very different. If you've paid attention over the last couple of months, I want to say 6-7 months, we've had discussions about upcoming mutual funds and hedge funds and other things that'll be, around certain cryptocurrencies. And they have certainly focused around Ethereum and Ripple and a couple around Bitcoin Cash. Very little around Litecoin, which is kind of a shame because, point of the video, I think it should be worth at least a bit more than it potentially is right now. This is not a discussion that is new for anyone who is surprised by any of this. I'll kind of get to Charlie Lee in a little bit, because he is kind of a major part of all of this. Along with, I don't know if you guys have seen my other videos or heard the phrase before. There's an event that a lot of people believe will happen very soon called the flippening. That is when Ethereum will begin to scale properly and it will pass by Bitcoin to be the #1 coin. On that same exact weird word, there is something that a lot of people believe that will happen this year in 2018, depending on when you are watching and or listening to this video. It's something called the flappening. I know it sounds ridiculous. We have a lot of weird words in the cryptocurrency market, but people who believe in the flappening, that Litecoin will eventually pass by Bitcoin Cash and potentially even Ethereum sometime in 2018, based on if people re-like the project, if people decide to start dumping money into it, realize how much quicker it is, faster, exactly what it can do. This is what people believe is going to happen. There's actually even a website dedicated to this called flappening.watch. You can see it up here. It has a percentage of how close the flappening is to happen. That is to say that Litecoin will be passing Bitcoin Cash. First of all, to get into crypto politics, a lot of people do not like Bitcoin Cash. I'm not going to go into it in this video. That is literally its own 3.5-hour video. But a lot of people believe that Bitcoin Cash has kind of pushed its way into one of the top coins, leaving Litecoin behind, when they believe that Litecoin should be in the exact same space where Bitcoin Cash is right now. And I do kind of agree, simply because of what Litecoin can do, which I'm also going to get into in a couple of seconds. Long story short, what have you. Everything that Bitcoin Cash can do more or less, Litecoin can in some way also do. A lot of people believe that Bitcoin Cash kind of has its spot in the market simply because of the name Bitcoin. If it did not have the name Bitcoin, because there's also a Litecoin Cash, which is much farther down on the list, that Bitcoin Cash is only around because it carries the Bitcoin name and was the first major hard fork that came from Bitcoin. I don't know how many of you actually believe that at some point Litecoin could catch up to Bitcoin. I'm not exactly even sure what really has to happen. And that's me being 100% honest. At this point, it pretty much has to go up 3 times in value in order to pass by Bitcoin Cash. But Litecoin has not been in the news as much as many people would like. I know there are a lot of people who, when Bitcoin, was the major coin and Litecoin was sitting around $4. I knew a lot of people who had picked up as many Litecoin as they could when it was sitting at $4 in hopes that one day, eventually, the price of Litecoin would eventually reflect the 1/4 of the price of Bitcoin, and they would in turn be multimillionaires, as many people thought. But for some reason, whether it be manipulation, whether it be lack of interest, whatever the case might be, Litecoin's price simply has not caught up to the price of Bitcoin, at least not yet at the time of me making this video. Part of the controversy in all of this has been pretty much Charlie Lee is the creator of Litecoin. Over the years, however, he has done some things that a lot of people aren't too pleased with, if you will, if that's a nice way of saying it. He's come out in support of other coins, which is totally fine. To be fair, Vitalik Buterin, who is the co-creator of Ethereum, he has many times come out in support of Omise Go, of Golem, of a lot of other projects. He's also, I think he helped the people behind EOS write part of their code or something like that. He's talked about them on his Twitter before about how he likes what they're doing. So it does happen. But the issue is that for about 2 years, Charlie Lee was pretty much silent on the entire Litecoin front. And then he started coming out in support of other coins. And he also said this it had to be a couple of months ago now. He pretty much made a statement saying a large reason why a lot of the people have not updated Litecoin or been working on Litecoin, or why there hasn't been much news about Litecoin, is he said that the people who work on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin developers, everything that they do pretty much directly benefits Litecoin, in that Litecoin is more or less, if you want to call it a fork or the first fork of Bitcoin. They share a lot of similarities. So everything that can be laid on top of Bitcoin can be laid on top of Litecoin. This is kind of where the entire thing comes together. So he said, he said pretty much, not a lot of work has to be done on Litecoin, because whatever they do, we can just slam on top of Litecoin and it will be just as good. People don't like to hear that from a creator of a coin that they're following. It's like if the head of Apple pretty much said, yeah, whatever Samsung does, we pretty much take it from them and then throw it on top of ours. It has a different meaning, or you hear it differently when you kind of think of it this way. No one wants to hear anything like that especially from if they've thrown thousands of dollars into a coin. That's not to say that they aren't working on Litecoin at all, but you kind of need a balance when you say things like this, because a lot of people, especially over the last couple of weeks, months, haven't been too happy with Charlie Lee, because another major reason is that a while back he said that he didn't want to interfere with the price, or didn't want to make it seem as though he was going to directly benefit from the price of Litecoin increasing. And he sold all of his Litecoin, which in turn, like I said before, if the head of Apple one day said, we don't have to do any work because Samsung does all of our work, and we throw whatever they do on top of our network and projects, and I've also just sold all my Apple stock, what do you think would happen to the morale behind Apple? So this has been one of the major core things. Charlie Lee has come out saying, I am definitely going to continue on Litecoin. He has not given a time frame if this will last forever. And at some point he said that he probably will step away from the Litecoin project. So the hope is, at least at the moment, that if he does step away, we will have another prominent and or dominant figure in the Litecoin space, because it is a great project and I don't think it should be as low as it is right now. On top of this as well, exactly to what I was saying before, when it comes to scalability or upgrades, pretty much everything that they test or rather that they're trying to implement on Bitcoin actually gets tested on Litecoin first, and a lot of people do not know that. The same thing happened with SegWit. I believe Lightning was also tested on Bitcoin, was also tested on Litecoin first, because they wanted to see exactly if it would work on Bitcoin. Lo and behold, it did. So it kind of leaves you to think, why is everything that works on Bitcoin that can work on Litecoin just as well? Why is the price of Litecoin so low? And it kind of, I don't know. It's still up for debate. A lot of people kind of, argue a lot on forums, if you look around for it, as to why the people don't know if it's price suppression. There are a lot of, I'm going to show you what people say Litecoin will be in the future, and it may kind of blow your mind because it kind of did mine as well, but it does kind of make sense in the long run. So, yeah, don't really know what else to say with that. Yeah, along with all of this as well, if you were around last summer, that is summer 2017, you probably noticed there was a huge problem with the Bitcoin network, in that there was at one point, I think there were like 250,000 transactions that were backed up in the network. It took days for transactions to go through. I put a transaction, it had to be no more than $15 in Bitcoin, and I think it took me around 13 days for that money to finally go through. While this was happening, there was a huge uptick in the usage of Litecoin for a couple of reasons, because the Bitcoin network was actually charging people around $33 in transaction fees, which isn't really the case that much anymore. But while these $33 fees were going around, Litecoin had fees of around 15, 16 cents, and this cost a lot of people to kind of flow to it and actually realize that it was a lot quicker than the Bitcoin network, which is still even happening now. There are a lot of companies and websites that have dropped Bitcoin altogether, at least for the time being, and they have noted or announced that they would be using Litecoin in place of Bitcoin, which in turn still leads you to believe that the price of Litecoin is undervalued. But we've gone into at least most of that already. We know that Litecoin is quicker, has less fees, but doesn't have the backing that Bitcoin does at the moment, simply because at some point they were unhinged from each other. They were locked together for a very long time. They were always in the news together. Whenever you started hearing about Bitcoin in 2014, Bitcoin and Litecoin were always spoken about together. It was literally this conversation of the gold to silver, and at some point, Bitcoin just became digital gold and Litecoin kind of fluttered into the background. So when you look for people talking about the potential future of Litecoin and where it could go and where it should be and where they think the price will be at any time in the future, I found this one, and it says that they believe that Litecoin will reach $1,000 sometime in 2018. This would mean that all the other predictions that we currently have right now for the prices of all the coins in the coin market going up would lead us into a multi-trillion-dollar market. If that's still going to happen, that is left to be seen. But I don't want to say I would be shocked, because the market has done completely ridiculous things in the past. But at the price sitting around 100 and what is it? Litecoin is currently at $121. That would be around the 10 times 9-point-something% increase in order for it to hit $1,000 in 2018. This would mean that something very significant would happen. And over the course of the beginning of 2018, at least, a lot of the projects that Litecoin has tried to jump onto, that is their LitePay, which didn't pan out. That is their debit card service, which also didn't pan out, and a couple of other things that they tried to get onto that just didn't end up working out. We would need something significant to happen with Litecoin, some type of major partnership for them to join or be listed as a payment option on Amazon or Apple, or I guess Google doesn't, I guess the Google store or something like that, whatever you really want to say. Something major would have to happen in order to get us to $1,000. But we still have all those crazy price predictions that are coming out that all these coins are definitely going to go up sometime this year. Don't know if that's going to happen, but $1,000 for this article. Now, this is kind of where it gets crazy. I saw these prices and actually couldn't believe it myself. It does make sense, and I'll try to remember to explain why. The current price being 121 on this website, they say the 1 year forecast, 1 year from now, is $1,000, kind of ties into this one more or less, but this says 2018. So we have 6 months left in this month, in this year. Let's see if that's going to happen. A year from now, I could definitely see that, but the 5-year forecast that they're saying for the price of Litecoin is $5,663 compared to the $121 that we have right now. Whenever there is a like a mining reward for Bitcoin, the same exact thing happens for Litecoin. The mining reward gets cut in half at a certain point. So eventually in the future, whether people are really using Litecoin on a heavy basis or not, the reward will get cut in half. The amount of coins that will be put into circulation from mining will also be cut in half, and this will only continue over the next couple of years. A price of $5,663 over the next 5 years leads us into the time frame that many of the other prominent or dominant heads of the cryptocurrency space, that is to say the millionaires and billionaires, the movers and the shakers, the people who control the market, they have all said that by the year 2023, Bitcoin's price will be over $1 million. Keep that in mind. This still leads us to a huge disconnect in the prices of all the cryptocurrencies. Regardless of how nice this is, that's still a very nice price to see. This would mean that in 2023, the price of one Bitcoin will be worth $1 million or over $1 million, and Litecoin will still be around $5,000, maybe $6,000, which is not a bad return. Just going to say that. This is not financial advice. Everything I've said in this video, please take it as if it was entertainment. I am not a financial professional in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a person on YouTube talking to you guys. You guys don't even know who I am, so make sure to do your own research and all of this. Just had to throw that out there. So this still leads us into the future where Litecoin is worth a lot, especially if you got it for $4 like a year ago, which is absolutely crazy. But it still leads us into a world where Litecoin is still completely undervalued compared to Bitcoin. Maybe it's supposed to be this way. There are a lot of people who believe that while Bitcoin in the future will be known as digital gold and just as a store of value, there are a lot of articles about this, why Bitcoin will just be a store of value. A lot of people do believe that at some point Litecoin will take the helm and will be used for microtransactions in the cryptocurrency and the normal world. That is to say, because right now it is almost impossible for Bitcoin to be used in order to buy a pack of gum that may be 25 cents, something that may be, I don't know if anything costs 18 cents in a store, but if you're trying to buy something that's very, very cheap, it's almost impossible because of Bitcoin's fees. But eventually Bitcoin will get to a point to where no one is actually using it anymore and people are just using it as a store of value. This is why you hear so many stories about these millionaires who are accumulating $5 million worth of Bitcoin at a certain time because they're locking it into vaults, which I made a video about before, which is absolutely ridiculous. There are people who are buying cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and they are putting it into underground mining vaults. I don't think you've heard anything that crazy today. So this is the belief that Litecoin will at some point be the coin that many people are using for micropayments, all the other coins aside, what have you. But yeah, so this still leads us into this time where Litecoin is still undervalued. Like I said, this is about discussion, this video, or at least my weekend videos. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know why you think the price of Litecoin is where it is. I know there's a lot of discussion as to why people believe that. A lot of people think, like I said, that the price of Litecoin should be 1/4 that of Bitcoin. but this still would probably lead us into an event where Litecoin could potentially then pass Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people, especially the people who have a lot of Bitcoin, don't want to see that happen because it kind of leads to a rift in exactly the power that Bitcoin has. Alrighty, everyone, that is definitely going to do it for this video. Like I said, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Everyone has their own idea as to what's happening with the price of the coin, so I would like to hear what you think as well. Thank you once again for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing. I hope it is awesome. Thank you once again for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.